Hello, welcome back to Cinderella Math. Today I'm going to be doing a video here on how to find the equation of a line given 2 points on the line. I would classify this as an Algebra 1 lesson, but if you're in pre-algebra, I have seen it done there. And if you are like Algebra 2 or even geometry or studying for SAT, if you're up there your junior year, and you're using this to review, that's fine too. So I would say the target is Algebra 1, but of course anyone is welcome. I would have with you pencil, paper, calculator, if you're allowed to use one, and I may go over to Desmos, the free online graphing calculator, to check my work. That's not a necessity, but if you want to pull that up, you are of course more than welcome to do so. Let's jump right in. So this is a multi-step process. So I think that's why people find it difficult, because it does take quite a few steps, but we got this. All right. There's a couple formulas I want to throw at you real fast. If you don't have these memorized, go ahead and memorize them. The slope formula given 2 points is the second y minus the first y over the second x minus the first x. The slope intercept form of a line is what I call Cinderella. That's the namesake of this channel actually, is not really equals y equals mx plus b. And then there is also something called the point slope formula or form of a line. And it's this, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. I don't particularly like that one, but some people do. I will show like one example with that one, but for the most part, I'm going to be using the slope formula every single time and the slope intercept every single time. Okay, if you do not have those memorized and you're in high school math, you really need to go ahead and put those in the memory bank. They're going to come up all through high school. Okie dokie. Alrighty, let's do it. So I'm going to give you 2 points. So here's example 1. And we are going to create or find the equation of the line that goes through. Here's my first example. We're going to be using the points 2, -1, and -4, 5. Now don't write this down, but if you did have graph paper, we could graph this. 2, -1, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Then we could just count the slope, and then we would have to figure out also this y-intercept. Now mine's not perfect because that's not actual graph paper, and I think that's kind of annoying. You got to count, you got to have the graph paper, you got to be pretty precise on drawing the line, and I just think it's too much work. So I just prefer to do it all algebraically, and that's what your teachers, I believe, want to see as well. They want to see the following work. We need to go ahead and get the slope, which is known as the letter M. Think of that as mountain slope. Using our slope formula, which we just wrote down on the previous slide here, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so it's the second y minus the first y. I even draw like a little backwards rainbow there. So that's going to be 5 minus -1 over second x minus first. Remember from middle school, up at the top, minus minus turns to a positive. So this would be 6, and then -6. Divide that out would be -1. That is our slope. So if the question just was find the slope between these 2 points, you would be done. But they want the equation of a line. From here, you have 2 options. And I will split my paper. You can now use the slope intercept formula, which is y equals mx plus b, aka Cinderella, or you can use the point slope formula, which is y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1. I prefer the left, the slope intercept. So I'm going to do that on every example except this one. This one I'll do it both ways, and then going forward I will do the one I prefer. But of course you can do the one you prefer or that your teacher prefers. Okay, doing the left with the slope intercept, aka Cinderella, pick the easier point. It does not matter. It's which one's easier for you. I'm going to pick this first point. So this is x, this is y. Up here at the top, I'm putting it in red. So the y is -1. The slope we just found, that was the blue work. We just found the slope is -1. The x is 2. Put that in parentheses because if you don't, it looks like -12, which it is not -12. And then plus b. Solve for b. So we get 1 equals b. And then your final answer is y equals mx plus b. Answer, yes, you could take off the coefficient and say just -x plus 1. Either way is fine. They're both correct. Okay, that was using my preferred method, the slope-intercept form, to find the final answer. Okay, going to the right side, I will now do this with point slope, and I will still use that first point. You can do either. It doesn't matter. So you're going to keep the y, keep the minus. The y value is -1. Keep the equal. The slope we found in the blue work is -1. Keep the x, keep the minus. The x value is 2. And again, I'm using the first point. You could have used the second. It will not matter. You will get it right either way. Minus minus turns to plus on the left-hand side. And this may be the answer. If your paper or teacher says put it in point slope form, stop right there. Okay, I just don't like that form and it doesn't tell me enough information to like graph it in my opinion. So what I do is I just go ahead and distribute. And solve for y. So I get y equals -1x, 2 minus 1 is 1. Answer. And again, you could cut off the coefficient and just do it like that. Answer. Okay, but the green, dark green box, if your teacher or paper says put it in point slope, you're done. I just don't particularly like that one. And usually the slope intercept is more useful. So yes, it's a lot of steps, but again, you don't have to do the both ways on the bottom. It's still annoying, I know. I will now check this with Desmos. Okay, you're going to graph both points. To graph a point on Desmos, you just type it in. So I don't remember what their points were. They were 2, comma, -1. There it is. And the other one, come down to the second line here, was -4, comma 5. There he is. And then our answer was y equals -1x or just -x, doesn't matter, plus 1. It should hit both points. Boom. It does. It should hit smack on, smack on. The other answer, if we left it in point slope, using the first point I had was y plus 1 equals -1 parentheses x minus 2. This should hit, boop, it does. If you use the second point, your answer would be different, but it would still be correct. If you use the second point on the point slope. If you use this one, here, I'll go ahead and do it. You would get y minus -4 equals x, no, the slope, so -1, x minus 5. Answer, and again, minus minus over here just would turn to plus. See, same answer, same line. They're all the same. All right, from now, maybe I'll do one more in point slope, but after that, I'm just going to do my preferred. And I think it's what most teachers prefer to. Okay, here's example 2. All right, we are going to go through the points. Let's see here, trying to find a good one here. So we want the equation. So this is example 2. We want the equation of the line through these 2 points. It's going to be 5, 1 and -5, 3. So first step, no matter how you go from here to finish it, your first step is going to be find slope. So again, slope, which is m, is second y minus first y over second x minus first x. First x, first y. Second x, second y. Okay, now we're ready. Second y minus first. Second x minus first. 3 minus 1 is 2. You owe me 5, you owe me 5, you owe me negative 10. Reduce, divide by 2. That's 1/5 negative. That is our slope. You can have your negative on the top, bottom, or side. It doesn't matter as long as you have it. You do want to reduce when possible. Okay, if it just said find the slope between those 2 points, we'd be done. But they want the whole equation. One more time, I'll do it both methods. After this, I'll just do it my preferred. So I'm doing the y equals mx plus b method, which is with the slope-intercept form of a line. I am going to use the first point. When I can avoid negatives, I will, right? I can do negatives, of course, but this one's just going to be easier to do arithmetic-wise. So this is x, this is y. So we have 1 equals slope, we just got was -5 times x, which is 5, plus b. Solve. 1 equals, that's -1/5 times 5 over 1. Cancels, -1 over 1 is -1. If you don't want to do that fraction work, that's my side work there, you can use fraction calculator if you're allowed to do so. Plus 1, get off, and that's 2 equals b. So our final answer would be y equals mx plus b. And again, for the slope, you can have the negative on top, bottom, or to the front. I like it on top. You can do whatever you want. This is my preferred method. Done, and I would stop. I would go on to the next problem. If you want to see, though, if you want to just fast forward me till you see example 3, feel free, but I will do one more with the point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So keep the y, keep the minus. I'm still going to use the first point, so the y value there is 1. Keep the equals. The slope is -5. Keep the x, keep the minus, and the x value is 5. Again, using this first point. You could use the second. It doesn't matter. It will work either way. Okay, if it says leave it in point slope, that pink box, you're done. So again, the advantage of that is that you don't have to do a lot of fraction work. But again, the disadvantage is that's just not the prettiest form of this line, in my humble opinion. So I am going to distribute. Okay, I can do that fraction work in my head because I'm a math teacher. You use a calculator or come off to the side and do -1/5 times -5. Cancels, negative times negative, positive. Okay, and now I'm going to add 1 to get y equals -1/5 x plus 2. Potato, potato, they're the same. Again, I don't like that right-hand side. That's not my preferred method, but if it's yours, you go for it. Okay? Or if your teacher says leave it in point slope form, you leave it at the pink. All right, I will check this one on Desmos, and this will be the last one I check on Desmos. For the rest, I'll just do just the algebra work without checking it. Okay, that was through 5-1, new line, -5-3. So there's our 2 points, and we got y equals -1/5. How do you do a fraction? Just hit the slash on your keyboard if you're on a computer, or hit the keypad and just hit divide, because remember, fractions are just division. X plus 2. Boom, there it is. It hit both points. If you left it in point slope form, using that first point, it was y minus 1 equals -5 x minus 5. Boom, same line, we're good. And that's how you can check. All right, I think I'll do 2 more here, but I'm only going to do my preferred method now. Let me make them a little ugly. And by ugly, I mean a little more fractiony, but you can't tell from the get-go that they're going to be fractiony. So here's example 3. I want the equation of the line through 2, 2, and -5, -1. So that doesn't like look any harder than what we just did. But because I have the answer key in front of me, I can tell it's going to be first step always is to get the slope. Second y minus first y. Second x minus first x. Just go ahead, do that arithmetic. That'd be -3 over -7. Negative divide negative would turn positives. So our slope is 3/7. That's our m value. Think of mountain slope. It's ugly. I know. It does not reduce. That's fine. Just leave it 3/7. If the question was find slope, we would be done. But the question is find the line. I'm just going to do my preferred method now of using the slope-intercept form. And you want to pick the easier point. I'm going to pick 2, 2. Again, when I can avoid negatives, I will. So we have, this is x, this is y. So 2 equals m, so 3/7 times 2 plus b. Okay, fraction calculator or off to the side. 3/7 times 2 over 1 would be 6/7. Of course, use fraction calculator if you're allowed or if you like to. Let's change this 2. So think this is 2 whole pizzas, but each one has 7 slices, right? Look at the denominator, it's 7. So 2 pizzas, 7 slices each. I ate 14/7. Isn't that 2? And again, if you're going to use fraction calculator, you don't really need to do that step. Solve. I'm going to minus 6/7. 14 minus 6 is 8 over 7. There's b. Y equals m x plus b. She's not pretty, I know, but it's okay. And that is the slope-intercept form answer. And that's my preferred answer. Again, if it's not your teacher's, you could do it the other way with point slope. Point slope would probably be a little easier because it wouldn't be as fractiony. But again, it's just not my preferred form of the line. Okay? Again, use that fraction calculator if you're allowed to. If you're a Desmos calculator person, they handle fractions, or it handles fractions with ease. All right. I will do one more example. And then I'm going to call it a day here. Example 4. Find a good one here. All right, let's go through the point. The 2 points are going to be 3, 3, and 1, -5. I'm not going to put the directions, same directions. I want the equation of the line through those points. Find the slope. Second y minus first. Second x minus first. So that'd be -8 over -2. Negative divide negative cancels. 8 divide 2 is 4. So there's our slope. And now I'm using my I'm using slope-intercept form. And I'll use the first one just because, again, I like to avoid negatives. This is x, this is y. 3 equals m x plus b. Solve. So 3 is 12 plus b minus 12. To get that off, -9 is b. Final answer, y equals mx plus b. But again, that looks funky. Plus a negative is better written as a minus. So final answer, 4x minus 9. Y equal. There he is. I'll do one more with fraction. I lie. I like to do lots of examples. I just want to show you all the scenarios. All right. One more with a fraction, and then I'll actually do one where it's like an undefined situation. This is example 5. Same directions. Our 2 points are -5, -1, and 1, -4. So find the slope. Second y minus first. Be careful here. -4, subtract -1. Second x minus first. So that's 1 minus -5. Both of these are going to turn to big plus. So that's -3 over 6. You can divide by 3. and that reduces to -1/2. So there's our slope. Using the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. I'm going to use the second one because at least only one of them is negative. This is x, this is y. You could use the first one. It does not matter. -4 equals mx plus b. Well, 1 times anything is just itself. I'm going to add 1/2. Okay, off to the side, -4 plus 1/2. Okay, I ate 4 pizzas, so that's 8 halves, but negative. And again, if you don't want to do that yourself and you're allowed a fraction calculator, by all means, there we go. Y equals mx plus b, but plus a minus, nah. Better answer is just to put minus. So final answer, y equals -1/2 x minus 7 halves. Again, it's ugly. That's okay. Math can get ugly, especially the higher up you move. It's okay. We don't like it, but it happens. Okay, and now just very quickly, I'll show you an undefined one. It'll look weird, but it's actually a very quick question. Through the points -3, 5 and -3, 4. So if you go to find the slope, second y minus first, second x minus first. So that would be -1. This would turn to a plus. -3 plus 3 is 0. -1 divided 0 cannot be done. Your calculator will say error. This is undefined slope. So before you got to this lesson, you should have learned about undefined slope. That means it is vertical line. So if you think about it, let's graph the points that were given. -3, 1, 2, 3, up 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, and -3, 4. So left 3, up 4. Connect those. It's going to be a vertical line. This is just x equals -3. All vertical lines will be x equal. That's it. So we can't do the Cinderella form on this. It won't work. There's no slope to do it with. The slope is undefined. Okay, so that's a weirdo. That doesn't happen all that often, but I just wanted to point that out. And then there is one more weirdo. Let me see if I can find an example of that. Okay, got it. Yes. So I would like the final example. Here's another weirdo. I'd like the line through these 2 points. -1, 4 and 8, 4. So find the slope. Second y minus first. Second x minus first. So the top's going to be 0. This will turn to plus and 9. 0 divide anything is 0. So 0 pieces of pizza, 9 friends, we're all getting 0. This slope is 0. That means it is a horizontal line. Again, you should have already learned that before you got to this lesson, but if not, I'll teach it to you now. Think about it. Let's graph those 2 points. They gave us -1 up 4, and they gave us 8. I'm just faking that there. Up 4. Connect them. Horizontal line. So that is y equals whatever that y value is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Okay, those are your kind of 2 weirdos that they seem weird, and they are, but they're actually less math. So take those when you get them. And again, they don't happen all that often, but I did want to just quickly point them out. All right, I think that's it for me. You should be able now to take 2 points and find the equation of the line. I hope that was helpful and that you're having a great day. Bye-bye.